Hello everyone, welcome to another Starcraft 2 video. This one's going to be a 4v4. It's going to be right side versus left side. On the right side we have Ketroc, the blue Zerg. Going Zerg this time. I'll show you why. It's a fun little strat you can do. It's very easy and very effective for 4v4. And we got Neo, living kind of within the Matrix. This is a video game after all. And Jai Brownie, this is the guy who actually found me. I don't really know how, but I've played a bunch of games with him now, and cool guy. And Uber Nation with the randomly capitalized letters. Oh, not so random. It is every other letter that's capitalized. So with the structured capitalized letters, we'll say. And our opponents today are Hydrophilic Prodigy X or Prodigy 10, however you want to look at it. Choco cookies. And Boyden? And an anticlimactic end to the introductions. So the build we're doing today is make a bunch of speedlings, ram it down their throats, because speedlings are awesome, especially in team games, because they can be anywhere, anytime you need them to be there, because they are basically so fast that they just teleport across the map. And that's important in team games, because when you have an opponent getting hit, you're immediately open to save him or to counterattack, things like that, so you want to have those lings always available to be anywhere you want. And it's a very difficult build. See if you guys can get down. 15 hatch, 15 pool, 15 gas. Boom. Obviously, since you're going hatch first, this isn't for expansion purposes. I'm building an in-base. It's just easier to defend that way. It's for larva purposes. You want to get tons of larvae so you can actually spend all your money on zerglings. And as you're going hatch first, this is a little susceptible to a ling rush, but with a little bit of scouting, if you see something happening, you can quickly cancel this and throw down a pool, or you can throw down a pool first if you see it in time. But then you have partners that help you, and if you can micro your drones well, you can actually do overwrite versus like sort of a ling rush. So I went to 15, made my hatchery, made a drone, 15 pool, made a drone, 15 extractor, and then you want to get 100 gas and then put your drones back on minerals. And you want at least 16 drones, so you have 2 per patch. But a few more is alright too. If you want to go like to 18 or so, that's alright. And as soon as your pool finishes, you get a couple of queens and start mass producing larvae and mass producing. Oh, there's the pinging. So yeah, that pinging was my Overlord scouts did notice the zerglings coming in. This is a pretty fast 6ling. I would guess it was a 10 pool. So I have nothing obviously at this point. I don't have a spawning pool as of yet, so this is kind of the weakness in this build. But if you can micro your drones well, in fact this is a good little tutorial part here. You can do well versus 6 lings with your harvesters if you micro them well. So I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to show you the process of what you do. First of all, you want to cluster all your drones on a mineral patch away from the zerglings. So I'm going to cluster them on this one right here. Just keep spam clicking that, select all your drones and just keep spam clicking this mineral patch. So like your drones just keep clustering. See how they're coming together? Now what you want to do is once you have them all clustered, move to a mineral walk, like click on a mineral patch so they walk through stuff on a path on the opposite side of the zerglings. So I'm clustering up on this one and then I'm going to mineral walk over here so they all move right through the zerglings. And as they're moving through the zerglings, you attack move. And that does 2 things. One, it guarantees all your drones will get 1 attack in before they all separate. And 2, when they do separate, they'll probably get a nice little surround on the zerglings. So here we go, on mineral walk through them, and then boom, attack move, and everything just attacked at once there. Notice how every zergling's pretty injured. I got 2 of them trapped, although I kind of let them go, which is bad. Trying for the mineral walk track again, he is pulling out. My partner does arrive with a couple zerglings. Pulling back, and then more zerglings there, so I'm alright. Notice how I structure my buildings. This is just in case I can throw down a couple spine crawlers like this, and they're pretty well placed. You know, they got the little SimCity action going on here. SimCity. That's like Starcraft 1 talk. I may have never played the game, but I've seen a few YouTube videos to know what that means. And Neo is demanding thanks. And I'm sure since we're on Skype, I gave him the exact opposite of thanks, just to rub it in. Dude, that's fine, man. I had drones. Drones kill lings. So, we just saw the downside of this build, but, you know, with the good team and some help, it can work out well. Or you might just die. I mean, obviously every build has a weakness. That's the weakness in this one. Shame on me. Oh, I'm a bad person. But there was no follow-up from Hydrophilic here. Looks like he went Ling Rush into Spinecrawler, which makes no sense at all, but hey, it's Team Games, it doesn't have to make sense. I think this is the path that they want to attack along, based on the spam pinging. So we got some Lings and some Hellions coming in. Yeah, so while I was talking to them on Skype, I realized they're talking about like homework and stuff, and I'm like 30. I feel like their parent. But they're cool guys, and they're not immature in any way, so maybe it's college homework? I don't know. It sounds like they might be in high school, though. They're all post-puberty, I can tell that much by their voices. Pretty good micro with the Hellions there, always running away from the Zerglings when they attack you. And moving in when you're safe. Drones running away. Zerglings getting a good surround. This is how you want to use the Zerglings. Don't never just attack move. Use the speed advantage. Get past the drones. Trap them. So key with speedlings. It's all about getting the surround. If you just attack move, they get clustered on one side. You don't stop them from kiting you. If you get a surround, they can't kite, and they're getting attacked from all angles at once. This guy is dead. So I remember the immediate image that came in my head was an old Oil of Olay commercial, where it's like, it's so old I think it was actually based on like Top Gun or something, where it's like this guy is hitting on this girl and he's like, don't I know you from somewhere? Which is obviously the best way to start any pickup line. He's like, 1975, flying high. So that's the name of the flight school apparently, Flying High, I was in your class. And then she's like, I was your teacher. It's exactly how she sounded. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm like pretending to be their age, but I'm actually much older than them. And I just feel that's awesome. I actually remember a commercial from like probably the early 90s, late 80s, I don't know. Although I may have given her a much older British accent, but still. So I'm finally moving out with Zerglings here. Now we've had a little intermission story there. And obviously this is the advantage. Now you got the two hatcheries. You can keep puking larvae with your injecting larvae with your two queens, and that creates enough larvae to spend all your money on Zerglings. And then once speed finishes, which is when you want to move out, that's the best time to time it, obviously. And boom, there they got wings. Now we're moving. We're moving now. That's a lot of Bailings. I want to fight that. Lucky I didn't go in there. Always put Bailings at the top of the ramp because then you can't get seen. So here he's not walled off, so obviously you can get in. And obviously this is a case where you don't want to attack move. If I attack move, what's going to happen? All the Zerglings are going to be clustered right in here. And you're going to have 2 attacking and 19 dancing around in circles. So move right in. Move in, get the surround. Move in. Notice I'm not attacking. Now I'm attacking. Full surround. I still got some clustered here. They're pretty useless. Grab them, use them somewhere else. Here we go. Getting surround on these stalkers now. It's all about the surround. Bailings are moving in though, so I just kind of sacrificed Zerglings. These ones are like, run away, get away from the Bailings. My buddy's like, hey, you're stealing all my probe kills, man. I actually considered killing his Reapers with my Zerglings when he said that, but we didn't have this game won yet, so I wasn't going to do that. Notice he's warping in some stalkers. Once again, I'm going to attack them one at a time just because I know I can't actually win this fight. I don't have enough Zerglings left. So I'm just going to do as much damage as possible. See if I can kill one more, Obviously I can't do anything now, so run away, run away. Yes, this one Zergling is what's going to win us the game. Actually, this is like the guy who lost his eye in the movie 300. It's like, tell them what we've done today. And like, here's all the free Greeks he's going to inspire. Yes. The movie should actually be called 299, because, you know, the one guy really didn't fight to the death. He doesn't count. And that's why you don't want to engage Bailings. So there goes half my Zerglings to like 2 Bailings. Notice I'm just grabbing a couple Zerglings at a time. I'm trying to pop his Bailings on my Zerglings. But he's being smart. He's putting his Bailings on move command. So I'm not going to be able to pop them. So notice I'm pinging my base and I'm telling my partners, hey, I'm under attack from 2 people. And you don't yell at them, hey, come save me, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. You tell them, hey, I'm under attack from 2 people, and let them do their thing. So they can come save you, or if they don't save you, that's perfectly fine as long as they do something else. Like maybe they can go kill 2 opponents while you lose your base, and that's a pretty good trade-off. And that's kind of what's happening here. They're like slaughtering this Terran opponent. This guy's already been knocked out of the game, so we're well ahead here. So even if I lose my base, we're still well ahead. So here they come in, and I'm falling, obviously falling back to my defense. And I want to do as much damage as possible. Even if I die here, I want to do as much as possible. So fight with your spine crawlers, fight with your queens, and even fight with your drones. That's really key. It's a mistake a lot of people make. I'm assuming that because it's a mistake I always make. You lose your entire army, and you're like, crap. Well, I got SCVs. Let me grab all them and attack move with them, and you fight with them afterwards, and of course they all just evaporate. And that's not the way to do it. You need to know when you're going to die. It's like, I feel like I'm going to die, so I'm going to fight with all my Harbingers and all my army together. If you fight with them together, it's so much more powerful than doing a piecemeal one at a time. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to try to keep my Lings away from these Balings. So I see the Balings coming in the bottom. I move my Lings in the top. Run my drones away, obviously. Let my Queens see if I can get my Queen to pick off those Balings. And there we have it. Actually worked out pretty well. In fact, I might even be able to hold by myself. Who knows? My partner is, or my red player, Neo, is coming in to help me once again, even though I didn't thank him last time. And yeah, pretty painless. I kept my queens alive, and I kept maybe, I don't know, half? Well, not quite. Maybe a third of my drones alive. And I still have the numbers left to counterattack. So at this point, despite being delicious, Choco Cookies is out of the game. This guy still is missing all his drones, or all his probes. The last like significant opponent is getting killed off here, and Green, who's trying to get back in the game, is about to eat all my Zerglings. So that's a 4-on-0 more or less here, and that is GG. Yes! The Manor Mule. I've never done that before. I gotta do that. I'm more of the Dance My Marine sort of guy, but the Manor Mule is pretty awesome too. Yeah, so just to review, the build is 15 hatchery, 15 pool, 15 gas, make a crap load of speedlings, and it works so well for team games. Obviously, you gotta be careful not to engage stuff like Balings and Colossus, but you can always find stuff you can hit. Anything that's not walled off, you can probably get in and surround or just rape a mineral line. And the speed of them makes them so good for team games because your opponent's under attack, boom, you're there to save them. Or they've moved out their army, boom, you're in the back of their base killing them while they're moved out. I mean, they're so fast and so awesome. And as a Terran player, just having like this unit that can like instantly surround and envelop and like swallow up an entire army is awesome. What you do want to be is very careful. I have a text here. Are you coming by train or subway? I'll get back to you in a second. What you do want to be careful with is Zerglings. Almost, it's never an even battle. Either you like surround and like envelop and destroy them, or you surround but you don't. They have too much firepower and you just get melted because Zerglings are so weak. So get a feel for like look at the army size and say, can I actually kill this? And if you can't, don't engage it. Even if like you feel like you have to engage it because like everything's dying or something like that, you don't want to just throw your Zerglings away. Wait until you think you have some sort of edge, then engage. Because yeah, it's straight. I don't know why, but it's just weird with this Zergling unit in that it's always one-sided. Like either you melt them or they melt you, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of that. And yeah, little drone trick obviously when you're facing the 6-lings, just gather them up on a mineral patch, mineral walk through the Zerglings, and then attack move, and it works out quite well usually. I mean, you're gonna lose a few drones, but it's not like you're gonna lose everything. And that's about all the review I have, so with that, we'll call that the end of this replay, and we'll jump into the thumbs up fact of the day. Anyone catching the reference here? Huh? Huh? Oh. Alright, so I went to add a thumbs up fact video to my previously recorded game, and I realized that Battle.net is down because they're implementing the most recent patch. So, for today's thumbs up fact, I thought may as well just talk about the patch a little bit. First time making a video where it's actually timed well enough that it won't be out of date by the time I actually post this on YouTube. So let's take a look at it, and I guess we'll just go from top down. So starting with the Archon, this is actually going to be significant for us.
Terran players, assuming you play Terran. Archon is already quite powerful versus Bio. You'll see them typically just when Templars run out of energy. They go for some sort of Psy Storm to counterattack your Bio. And then when they draft their Templar, they morph them into Archons during the battle. But Archons actually do significant damage to Bio. They do bonus damage versus Bio, and of course Archon Splash, so which works quite well versus the clustered up Bio Ball. So both of these changes will actually help versus Terran Bio. First of all, the range increase from 2 to 3. Obviously, that just means that Archons are more likely to get in range instead of being all clustered up with the Zealots and Sentries and Stalkers and not able to attack. That just means they're just going to get a few more attacks off, which is pretty good. I mean, it's an extra 2 or 3 hits from an Archon would be a significant amount of damage. And they're a massive unit. What does that mean? That means Concussive Shell will no longer slow Archons, because Concussive Shell does not work versus massive units. So you can't kite the Archons like we used to. The Archons will be in your face. And yeah, Archons are they're a lot like Thors or battle cruisers, where it's really painful if you do a lot of damage to them but don't kill them. Like if you do like 300 hit points worth of damage to a Thor and then the Thor gets away and is able to repair back to full, like all that energy spent doing that 300 damage is like completely useless because you didn't drop his firepower at all and you didn't kill a single unit. And the same kind of applies for Archons, only they don't have to repair. If you do like 300 damage to an Archon, they got that 350 shields. Well, like after the battle, like 30, 40 seconds later, those shields are going to be completely regenerated back to full. So, yeah, I always feared Archons. I didn't face them a whole lot, but I think we might be seeing them more. I think this is going to make Templar play a little more popular versus Terran Bio, and in turn, you're going to see more Archons when they go more Templar. The next two, this is all kind of combined, the Cybernetics Core and Gateway. What it originally was is they're going to add 40 seconds to the Warp Gate, and then they're going to make Sentries, Stalkers, and Zealots all build 5 seconds faster. And that was to combat PvP, I believe. Because PvP was a lot of 4-gate versus 4-gate, and there wasn't a whole lot of variety to it. The different ways people figured it out was like either like very, very precise sort of 3-gate robos, or a more defensive 4-gate sort of idea. There wasn't much variation, so they're trying to prevent the power of the 4-gate by making other units build quicker from gateways and then make the warp gate take longer. The problem with that was that I saw like faster zealots and faster stalkers meant you were going to see a lot of early game rushing, which would be super dangerous for Zerg, and it would be dangerous for me as I'm so fragile in my opener to begin with. I have like nothing since I go command center before barracks. That faster zealots or faster stalkers, like faster zealot could pick off my SCV making the command center. Faster stalkers could ramp bust me before I get that bunker done. It was definitely a worry. But this is a very good compromise. I think this still helps the PvP situation as warp gates take longer and you can pump out a defensive unit like the sentry faster. But sentries aren't very offensive, so it's not as threatening for like an early 2-gate play sort of idea. So I really like this change. Like it does what it's meant to do without screwing up the other matchups. And I think it's mostly a buff for me because I mean the warp gate technology takes 20 seconds longer now, which means that first wave of warped in proxy units from a 4-gate rush is just going to take 20 seconds longer. Maybe Chronoboost would cut into that a bit, but that's a huge 20 seconds for me because I usually have like a bunker with 2 Marines, and then I just finished my 2nd and 3rd barracks when the Protoss come in. So now I'm going to almost be able to get an extra round of units out of all 3 barracks. So instead of 2 Marines, I could have 5, which is pretty huge actually. Having 2 Marines in the bunker, yeah, I can keep the bunker alive, but I'm not doing much damage. Having 4 Marines in the bunker means I'm actually doing damage while he's trying to bust my ramp. I could see them getting earlier sentries though, as they wait for warp gate and then pushing in with their warp gate units. adding the stalkers and zealots later, which is pretty dangerous because I'm already afraid of sentries, and now if they get sentries, like if this encourages them to get sentries first, that means you're gonna have sentries with lots of energy on them, and if they throw down force fields to block my bunker repairing, I basically lose the game. I got micro like super well just to get the repair down. Like opened my wall to do it as well, and yeah, when they use sentries in the 4 gate, I often die. I'll just put it out that way. Um, Warp gate, yeah, okay. Pylon power radius decreased from 7.5 to 6.5. It's a minor change. I mean, I guess it'll be a little bit easier to spot what's going on in the Protoss base as they can't spread things out as much as they used to. But I think this is mostly to combat offensive pylons. So things like cannon rush will be a little more difficult. You won't be able to push in quite as fast. But more about the proxy pylon, especially like those annoying positions. Like maybe they'll put a proxy pylon on the low ground outside of your main, get some sort of high ground site, and then start warping in units on the high ground inside your base to bypass your ramp. So just things like that. That just means they're going to have to put the pylon like that much closer to your main base cliff edge, which means it's that much easier for you to snipe the pylon before it gets up. Yeah, it wouldn't be patch notes without an insignificant bunker change, so we got yet another one here. Yeah, so we get 25 less minerals back. Not a big deal. Usually you're salvaging bunkers later in the game where 25 minerals means absolutely nothing. But if you did some sort of early bunker play, like if Zerg fast expands, you throw down a bunker there, we get 25 less, but it's still worth throwing down the bunker. If they have to pull off 4 drones to stop you from completing the bunker, you're still hampering their economy far more than 25 minerals worth. So it's still always worth it. It's just a little more painful to put down bunkers willy-nilly. Ghost changed from 150 to 210. Okay, I'm going to talk specifically about my build versus Protoss, which is, the Bio Ball MMM with Ghosts. I see 2 points in the game where this will make a difference. One is when I first start making Ghosts. It's also the point when I first start making Medivacs, and I'm also getting a bunch of upgrades during that time. So it's a really gas-hungry part of my build. And for that reason, I usually store up gas. Well, now I won't have to store up quite as much as Ghosts are going to be taking less gas. A little more minerals, but less gas, I think, is a significant change here. The other part I'm thinking about is late game, once I got my 3/3 upgrades on my bio. Like once I've spent that 250 gas on both those upgrades, I find I start stockpiling gas. Like even though I'm still getting ghosts and medevacs and marauders, I'm still spending gas way faster than I'm spending minerals, or sorry, the opposite of that. I'm spending minerals way faster than I'm spending gas, and my gas just starts stockpiling. So this change is actually going to make my gas stockpile even worse late game. So I'm going to have to either find something to start spending my gas on. I know the smart thing would be like maybe some tanks or some point defense drones or something along those lines, but I'm really thinking nukes. I really want to start spending my gas on nukes. The other option obviously would be to, when I take, say, my 3rd and 4th expansion, is really not to populate the gases at those places. Keep all my SCVs on minerals, try to up my mineral count a little bit more, or just take less gas just to balance it better. But yeah, those are the changes I see there. I'm going to have more late game gas, and that timing where I first start getting ghosts and medevacs will be a little less painful on my gas store. Thors. Alright, instead of having the cooldown with the strike cannons, it's now going to be back to being a spell that requires energy, and Thors are going to have energy. The 2 main differences here is Thors aren't going to be able to fire a strike cannon right off the bat like they used to be able to. So you actually have to wait a significant period of time. So they start with 50 energy and they have to store up 150 just to use it. The other thing, obviously, is feedback is a good counter to Thors. I guess if Protoss was doing like wasn't doing Robotech, if they were doing Templar tech and you started throwing Thors at them, they really didn't have much they could do. What are they going to do with Gateway units and Templar? You can't really Psystorm a Thor or anything like that. But now you can feed back the Thors. Um, so not only will feedback cause damage, but it'll also help prevent the strike cannons. So there's two things that make strike cannons less viable. One is how long you have to wait just to use one, and two is you can easily be fed back before you even get it off. I mean, the strike cannon is like a charge-up spell anyways, that you gotta wait for the Thor to do his little mutation into strike cannon mode, and during that time you can definitely get a quick feedback off, which is an instantaneous spell. Because even though I didn't use Thor's a lot, I guess what would happen would be they're like a good hard counter to Templar-based armies, and then the Protoss would have to mix in Immortals to counter the Thors, and then you could just strike cannon snipe the Immortals, so the Immortals couldn't actually get off all their wicked damage versus armored. So now, since there's two ways to stop the strike, or two things that nerf the strike cannon, Immortals are going to be much more of a hard counter to Thors. And Zerg, Infestor speed is slowed down. I don't really see a whole lot of significance to this. I guess they can't be as free roaming with Infestors. I mean, often Zergs would just keep their army back and keep their Infestors forward, like right at the front of their creep. And then as you start pushing in, they just start throwing down fungals and falling back and fungals and falling back. This speed decrease means you're a little bit more likely to be able to catch them and snipe them when they're falling back. But it'll also help keep Infestors more in line with the rest of the Zerg army, where they won't be running up ahead. This will actually keep them in the back of the Zerg army, which is pretty smart. So oftentimes you'll see Zerg, they'll rush into attack, they'll send everything in from all their angles, and the Infestors will just, like, yeah, they'll get their fungals off, but they'll also just kind of run straight into their death. I don't know why Zergs don't like cast and then move their Infestors back, or cast and then burrow them, but I guess it's not high in their micro priority list. So oftentimes Infestors would just like kind of run straight in, and kind of like the way Templar do. They like cast their storms and then run straight in, and the speed decrease might actually help them. Who knows? Spore Crawler root time decreased from 12 to 6. I don't see a whole lot of significance here. I guess what it was back in the day, Spore and Spine Crawlers used to take 6 seconds to burrow, and they thought that was too powerful for Spine Crawlers to be able to burrow in 6 seconds. So they increased it to 12, so they couldn't be quite as mobile. So the 12 is really meant for Spine Crawlers, and they just happened to apply it to both types of crawlers, and then they realized that it's a nerf that wasn't needed for Spores. They're putting Spores back to the original 6 and leaving Spines as is. Although I'm sure a lot of Zerg players will still be saying that Spine Crawlers as well should be 6 seconds. I don't know. That's a debate in itself. Bug fix. Ghost could not quickly EMP the same location. That's actually probably something that helped me quite a bit. You don't want to EMP the same location twice unless you're targeting things like Carriers or Colossus or something that has more than 100 shields. Because each EMP does 100 shields worth of damage. Although now that you're limited in the amount of energy you can take, you probably want to double tap like your EMP. You probably want to double tap your EMP onto Templar clumps just to make sure the max energy Templar also lose all their storming ability. So that's probably a good thing for us. Fix an issue, allowed players to stack air units. Oh, this is from my thumbs up fact today. No more Viking Flower, it looks like. Remember they got rid of the Viking Flower, then there was that other way to do it where you patrol and you shift stop. Well, that doesn't seem to work anymore. USB headset, APM stats, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, the Taiwanese hotkey. I've been waiting forever for this to be changed. Thank God. Now I'm finally going to be able to make masters. And yeah, now some code of conduct violations, and also this patch you can redeem promo codes and check out the legal. Alright, let's do that. Okay, we'll end this video here. Thank you everyone, and goodbye. Stop, where's the stop?